how do I determine which of these facilities, which here appear as small squares, are within my 20-mile annotation circle? And remember, this is 20 miles on an average from these edges. In this case, there isn't that much of a buffer zone outside the tribal boundaries. What's also important to remember is which way the prevailing winds are blowing. In this case, the prevailing winds are coming from this direction. Now, we can't see anything about these facilities at this level of zoom. So I've got the plus sign selected, and the cursor turns to a tiny plus sign. I'm going to just keep clicking in the center of my circle, and I'm going to click way in. And at this point, these sources here are within the annotation circle, and I need to write down what they are. First, I'm going to click the pointer with the arrow, and I'm going to click within this square, and you see still it doesn't show me the facility that I'm looking for because I'm still not zoomed in enough. So I'm going to click the magnifying button again, and now I'm going to zoom in. And now you can see that there's a little square around the facility dot, and that's because some of these facilities are really big and they have multiple release points, which is what you see sometimes when you click on them when it's too zoomed out. I'm going to go back and select the arrow, and now when I left click in here, I see facility, and that's because I'm zoomed in enough to be able to have my pointer click on the facility. So at this point, I write down air sailing. It sounds like a recreational opportunity that doesn't have very many air pollution emissions, but I'm going to write it down. And then I can click anywhere outside there, and you see what it tries to select is the non-point source, which is all of Washoe County in this case. I'm going to go from facility to facility, carefully clicking in the zoomed in, and as you see here, I could be clicking the annotation circle, I could be clicking the road coverage because I'm close enough to the road, but I see that there's a facility called Rolling Thunder, which does sound like it might have some emissions. Maybe it's a clubhouse for bikers? I don't know. But if you want to include that in your list of facilities that are within your buffer zone, you would write that down in your book. And you would go from facility to facility, and it sounds tedious, but it's really educational. So in order to zoom out, I'm going to go back and click this minus sign, and I'm going to zoom out. And you see I have all these, so I would approach this systematically, clicking the select. If I can be zoomed in enough, I see the facility, H bar H, sounds like maybe they raise pigs. Actually here probably not, but they might have some emissions. And if you click and it just keeps showing you, in this case, it actually still shows this just over field, but if you click and all it shows you is a release point, it means you're not zoomed in enough. So go back and click the magnifying button, zoom in right where you want to be. Here's the edge of our annotation circle, and we could see that when you zoom in, you see that there is actually an area for this facility. I go back to the pointer, and now when I left click, it not only says what the facility is, this is R.R. Donnelly Sons Company, but there's multiple release points within Donnelly and Sons. Exhaust from activated carbon adsorption. So you would write down the names of all the facilities within your buffer zone just as a matter of starting the list of what emissions you're going to include in your report.